What's up, everybody? It's Critical. I'm sure by now all of you are aware of the new YouTube terms of service where swearing or controversial topics or anything sensitive will no longer be able to be monetized on YouTube. No one's really sure how they're going to enforce these rules since they're so incredibly vague. You could make a video about masking tape and it could be misconstrued as something controversial and you won't be monetized. You could fucking breathe into your mic a little too much and it could be misconstrued as sexual erotica and get you demonetized. It's just up to speculation how they're going to actually enforce this. But let's talk hypothetically here. If they enforce the rules exactly how they're written, which it seems they're doing since a lot of channels have had random videos demonetized for a myriad of different reasons, if they actually follow through with this and make YouTube this safe space they're trying to make, that will be the perfect storm that could kill YouTube. And that's something I never thought would happen. I always thought YouTube was too big to fail. But luckily, the only people that could kill YouTube are doing their absolute best to do just that. So hats off to the heroes at the YouTube headquarters that are really giving their best attempt, putting their best foot forward to destroy their website. Now, when I say destroy the site, I don't mean to a point where everyone leaves it or anything like that. That simply will never happen. The only thing that could ever happen on this site is the audience shifts and the new audience it appeals to isn't as big as the previous one. And then Google doesn't view keeping YouTube up as worth the expense anymore, so they pull the plug. Because YouTube, remember, is operated at a loss. Google is losing money every year on YouTube. They just view it as worth the cost to keep this monopoly on videos because that's a huge medium right now and YouTube's the big player there. They got the big scrotum. So they don't care about the content creators. If PewDiePie leaves, it doesn't matter to them because they're still operating at a loss. All of it completely irrelevant to them. But with these new terms of service, someone like PewDiePie, who is the biggest on the website, will no longer be able to monetize his normal videos because he says fuck, he says shit, and he plays sexual games, makes sexual jokes, so those videos can't be monetized anymore. So we'd have to completely change his format, as well as other content creators who make 1 or 2 videos a day. They'll have to completely change their format because sometimes it's on sensitive topics, or they say shit, or they say asshole, something like that. And it's going to take more time for them to produce that kind of content, and the amount of videos they make will decrease, so the amount of money they make will decrease. Their audience won't like the new videos since they subscribe for something that they're no longer getting, so that audience will leave, and then a new audience will fill its place that it likes these new videos, but it may not be as big as the previous one. So then these content creators are going to have to ask themselves a big question. Do they gamble on another video hosting site where they may not make the same money they make on YouTube and won't be able to live the way that they're used to? Or do they just water down their content for this new audience that YouTube is shifting towards? I'm pretty sure most big YouTubers will choose the latter. But still, they're not used to making this different kind of content or changing their format. They'll have to think of new things to talk about or to do. And it's going to take a lot of time. So they're still going to be making significantly less money, which is why this is the perfect time for an alternative to offer a service similar to YouTube that doesn't have these limitations and restrictions and can offer them something almost to the same level. It doesn't have to be the same amount of money per view. Now, I truly think Pornhub is in the best position for this. The owners of Pornhub tried to launch a video hosting site back in the early 2000s. It just didn't quite take off. If they tried again right now and gave it a cool name like turboner.org or .com, .net, .gov, any of that, and just offer a similar service where they'll give you X amount of money per view. It doesn't even have to match YouTube's amount right now, because I've talked to a couple other YouTubers on here who are big YouTubers because I wanted to gauge where they were at. And they're all worried about their financial security, and they said they'd be willing to go to an alternative even if it offered less revenue per view, because at least they would have that financial security where they could keep pumping out the videos and making the money off them. Even if it's a little bit less, they'll be able to compensate by making more videos, whereas on YouTube, they'd have to take a lot more time and make a lot less money. So let's say Pornhub launches Turboner. All they would need to do is give them some incentive to go over there. Give them a signing bonus, maybe a small little signing bonus, or at least just let them know that they will have complete creative freedom so they can keep making what they've been making. And I'm sure they would leave in a heartbeat because they're worried about their future on YouTube because of these new rules. Now, so far I've only talked about Pornhub as being someone in a position to capitalize on this opportunity, but there's actually a website out there right now that some of you may or may not know about. It's called vid.me. And I think this website has extreme promise in being the alternative to YouTube currently. I've only been saying Pornhub is someone who would try and capitalize on it because they're in a good position to do so. But VidMe has a pretty solid platform already. It's easy to use. The only thing holding it back is they clearly don't have the audience, and it's mainly just used as a side project for content creators if they want to mirror the video. But if VidMe was to double down and start reaching out to these big YouTube channels that are trying to get off of here because they're worried about their future, so VidMe higher-ups would need to reach out to them and be like, yo, what's up, pussy? Come over here, we'll give you this signing bonus, we can offer you this amount of revenue per view. I know it's a little lower than what you're used to, but you won't have all these limitations and you won't have all of these hoops that you have to ejaculate through, and you'll be able to pump out more content because you're not going to feel like you're restricted in what you can make. And that's really all they would have to do in order for VidMe to flourish right now, because a lot of channels are trying to get off here and find a viable alternative. And I think if VidMe played their cards right, they could very well be that viable YouTube alternative. Now I know everyone's all out there asking, why would YouTube try and implement such obviously ridiculous rules? It makes no sense. They must be run by fucking piles of garbage shitting shits. No, the rules really aren't that stupid. What they're trying to do is appeal to the audience that's more sensitive and doesn't want to be exposed to anything that might offend them. And they also want to make sure the kids can feel safe on here as well, because as long as these people are happier and not feeling triggered or upset about stuff, they're going to watch more videos in a session. And this is a huge group of people that YouTube would like to appeal to and make them want to stay on the site. And for example, kids, they're a really good financial means for YouTube because they just put shit on repeat and they're not old enough to know what ad block is. So they're going to watch the entire 2-minute ad, and sometimes if they like it, they'll click on the ad. Whereas someone above 10 years old is probably rocking some ad block, and I don't think they're going to see an ad for Dildo Sex Factory Machines new Sibian X Factor anal plugger or whatever. See that and then click on the ad. I don't think that happens. But a kid could see an advertisement for a toy maybe and then click on the ad. It's also really good for parents so they don't have to worry about their son or daughter getting exposed to some fucks and shits on YouTube, because you don't want little Hank's interpretation of the world to be contaminated by such filthy language and thought-provoking topics. Yucky. So it does make sense. Their business decision does make sense. They want to appeal to this really broad market that will probably give them a lot more revenue than the current audience right now. And also, they're not stupid. They know that the big YouTubers are going to try and abide by these rules, and they know that that audience will not leave YouTube because they support those people, obviously. That's why they stick around on here. I'm sure if those content creators went somewhere else, some of them would follow, but the majority of them would just forget about the content creator if they weren't that loyal. So they know that they have to stay on YouTube in order to maintain their full audience. For instance, you can't take PewDiePie, have him go to VidMe, for example, and expect all 47 million of his subscribers to follow him. No, maybe 1 or 2 million, and that's a huge chunk that he just lost in that transition. So he knows he needs to stay on the site. So really, YouTube knows what they're doing. But all in all, this is the only time where a competitor could actually be a viable alternative, where they could come in here, take some bigger channels, take a fraction of their audience and move them to the other site, move them to their site. So if someone offered that, Pornhub with Turboner, or perhaps VidMe stepping up saying, you know what, I'm coming up, I'm gonna be the big titties on the block. If someone could just offer a similar service and the big YouTube channels could feel safe over there in their financial situation, then I could definitely see YouTube folding because of these new rules and restrictions if they're strictly enforced the way they're written. Because no content creator that's currently on the site can abide by them in their current form. All of their videos will lose monetization, and their future videos will be very staggered. They're going to take a lot of time to make, and they're not going to appeal to the same audience that they already have. So they're going to need somewhere else to go. So either VidMe or Pornhub with Turboner or someone else is going to step up at some point, and I'm sure will try and take the audience away. Whether or not it'll work, who knows. Now, everyone thought MySpace and PhotoBucket were too big to fail until someone came along and offered something better. This is a totally different situation. People want to leave YouTube. They don't even need something better. They just need something that can suffice. In the other situations, no one was trying to leave. They just found something better. Here, they're actively looking for anything else. So if someone could provide that, it could very well be the fall of YouTube. I'm not saying it's going to be, but fun to think about. It's exciting stuff. I welcome the rise of Turboner or VidMe really coming in hot. I'm all for that. I'd like to see YouTube just fade into a sea of finger family videos. It'd be really cool. But yeah, I just wanted to talk about this a little bit. That's it. See ya.